Hello, everyone, and welcome to Missions and Missiology. I'm back here at my office in Lancaster Bible College, and today I want to tell you about a conference that I went to already some time ago. But I think it's a very interesting missions conference to talk about because it is one that's organized by a network of churches. So this took place on April 25, April the 25th of this year, so a couple of months back. As you can see here on the shared screen, the name and theme of the topic and the topic of the conference was Engage, and it took place at a particular church in South Carolina called Crossroads Church. But the interesting thing about it is that, as it explains here, it was organized by SendCola, which is a network of churches in Columbia, South Carolina, a network of churches that works together to contribute to the Great Commission. And I think that's a fascinating approach to go about missions, um, because especially when it comes to sending out people to the unreached, you need partners, right? And here are some of the sponsored, listed some well-known organizations. Um, but if you want people to be sent out to places like the Uyghurs in Western China, and some of them also live in other parts of the world like Central Asia, or if you want to reach out to unreached tribes in the Amazon, it takes people, obviously, to do that. It takes resources. Oftentimes, it takes training. It takes experience in global missions. And sometimes it can be hard for one church alone to put all this together, to send a team to a new location. And sometimes you have a situation that in your church, maybe you have one or two people who are interested in missions, or maybe find yourself in a situation that you feel called to missions, and in your church you're pretty much the only one, and you would like to be part of a cohort, right? And sometimes churches feel like, oh, it would be good if we could form a cohort of people who are interested in missions, and then they can read books about missions together, and they can be mentored by pastors, and then they can receive input from experienced missionaries, and that way they can prepare together for a task overseas or serving in a different culture, and can also encourage one another on the way. And so it's easier to accomplish such a cohort, right, if several churches work together. Of course, there might be large churches that always have like five or six people who are interested in missions, and then they can form their own cohort. But for a lot of small and medium-sized churches, that might not be the case. And then collaborating together with other churches might be a great way to form a cohort and to engage in other activities related to global missions, such as organizing a missions conference, right? That can also be quite challenging to do for one single church, but together in partnership with other churches, this is something that can be accomplished as demonstrated by this example of what SendCola was able to organize in Columbia, South Carolina. And I was privileged to speak at that conference, and I spoke about the knowledge of the glory of the Lord covering the whole earth, which I think is an important topic in that it gives us a vision to not only reach all nations, but to also seek transformation for the entire world. And it reminds us that in reading Genesis, or really in reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, we do get the sense that God has a plan for the entire world. And so I think that's a great way to describe missions. And I'll make a longer video about that to share what I was able to talk about at that time. But for now, uh, this is it. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.